All right, so for today, we're going to do a new mentor text. I'll show you where you can find all this, but I want to kind of explain to you what's going to happen today. So what we did last time in class, actually, I guess I should tell you this. This is going to be for if you're absent on December the 5th, which is a red day, or December the 6th, which is a white day. So if you're watching this, it means you were absent on those days, okay? All right, so going back to what we've done before, we've talked about how we had the claim. We've talked about what evidence is, what powerful evidence is, and then reason. And then on page 35, we actually did this one where we had to trace an argument by talking about what that claim is, and then finding the powerful evidence within there, just like we did here with the secret powers of doodling. So we're going to do another one. That way you have at least 2 examples that you can look at. So the example you're going to be doing today, the mentor text, is this one right here. It says, your phone is spying on you. So I'm going to show you where you can get that if you have access to a printer. So if you go to Schoology and you go to the reading writing course and you go to the mentor text folder, which is right here, maybe if it'll open, there we go. You'll find that right here. So you're going to click on that, it'll open up. And if you have access to a printer, that would be the best thing in the sense of opening it and just reading it that way. If you don't have access to a printer, you're going to want to make your annotations like on a separate sheet of paper. Just write down the things that I am highlighting or underlining, or the things that you would highlight or underline. That way you know what you're looking for in the sense of, hey, this is what was backing up that specific claim. Okay? So again, if you don't have access to a printer, on a separate sheet of paper, you're going to write down the claim that we write down together, but then also the things that I'm either underlining or highlighting, or things that you would underline and highlight. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you on my screen what I'm going to do here with this. This is the same thing. What you just got done seeing was what's on the back. So I'm going to give you kind of like the information from the front. But essentially what this does is this is a debate. And so you're going to see 2 different sides. You'll see that bias claim on there as well because you have 2 different sides. So up here you can see it says a debate. And so it's talking about your phone is spying on you. And basically it gets to the fact of, should they be spying on you or should they not be spying on you? So kind of to give you some background information, I'm just going to read this portion to you. You do not have access to this in the in Schoology, so I'm just going to read this. So I just want you to follow along. Okay. All right. So I'm going to underline a couple of things on here because I think it's important just to see it. But so our online activity is being tracked. Is that a problem? All right. So the situation. It says, it's a Saturday afternoon and you're watching soccer videos on YouTube. Later that day, you open Instagram and an ad for soccer cleats appears. In fact, every website and app you visit has started showing you ads for soccer stuff. Jerseys, shin guards, FIFA 22. Strange coincidence? Nope. Turns out your phone is spying on you. So I'm just going to underline this. Every time you go online, there's a good chance that you're being watched thanks for something called tracking technology. Like invisible spies, tracking technology gathers information about you, what you watch and listen to, what you like on social media, what you buy, what you search for. According to the Markup, a nonprofit organization, 87% of the most popular websites participate in some form of digital tracking. Okay, so the things that I'm underlining, those would be like the annotations. So if you're able to print, you can make the same annotations. But if not, you can just write these on a separate sheet of paper. And actually, I misspoke. This part is actually not part of that thing to print. So really and truthfully, this portion you don't really need to worry about. Okay, so yes, I'm annotating it. I'm just giving you the background knowledge. When we get to the other side, that's what you're going to need to make sure that you write down. All right, selling us stuff. So why does anyone care what you're up to online? Business track online activity to better understand their customers and provide a personal experience. Okay, so they're saying that businesses track online to understand the customers and provide more personal experience. TikTok tracks so you can recommend to others that you're going to enjoy. Nike tracks what sneakers you buy so you can suggest the perfect t-shirt to match your new kicks. Okay, but that's not the reason you're seeing ads for soccer gear all over the internet after watching a few soccer videos. That has to do with something called targeted advertising. So this is what they're talking about here. Okay, here's how it works. Big companies, including Google, Facebook, and Amazon, use tracking technology to find out what you're doing online. Apps like TikTok and Snapchat do it too. These companies then sell this information or data to advertisers. Okay, so sell this information to advertisers. Advertisers use the data to place ads for things you're likely to be interested in, like those soccer cleats on the sites and apps you visit. Okay, so here's the debate. Here's what we're going to read on the back. Tracking is perfectly legal with some exceptions. So I'm going to underline that. If you're under 13, companies need permission from a parent or guardian to collect and share the information about you. Without their permission, companies can be fined. Note that many social media sites require users to be 13 or older to sign up. But while kids' data is technically untouchable, data on teens and adults is there for the taking. Today, there is a growing debate around tracking and targeting advertising. So this right here is what we're going to read on the back. Some say that it's an invasion of privacy. Others say that if companies are honest about what they're doing, tracking is not a big deal. It's just part of our increasingly digital world. What do you think? Okay, so this part here, this is the debate that we're going to have on the back. Okay, and so at this point, if you were able to print the copy, awesome. If you were not able to print the copy, you're going to need to write things that we're underlining and highlighting on the back of that, or on a separate sheet of paper, so that way you have it. So again, if you were not able to print, you're going to get a separate sheet of paper and you're going to write down the things that I'm showing you that I'm underlining. Okay? All right, so we're going to kind of do the same thing we did with the secret powers of doodling. So just like we did here, we wrote down the claim underneath. And then after that, we were able to find the different things to support that. We're going to do the same thing here. Okay, so it says stop invading our privacy. And so the fact that it says stop invading our privacy, I also think back to what we underlined up here. And this right here, it says there's a growing debate about tracking and targeted advertising. So my question is, what exactly are they saying, this person? What would she be saying about tracking and targeted advertising? Is she saying that it's okay? Is she saying that it should stop? Like, what is it that is going to happen? The fact here they're saying stop invading. So what I'm thinking here is that she's saying that her claim is this. So this is something I want you to make sure you're writing down. Okay, so her claim on this side is that tracking and targeted advertising should stop. Okay, that's her claim. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to read just her side of it, and we're going to highlight or underline in orange what it is that she, like how she's able to support that claim. What's the evidence in there to support it? Okay. All right. So here we go. Read this one. And again, if I highlight something, or if you want to highlight something and you were not able to print, you're going to write that on a separate sheet of paper. Okay. How would you feel if a drone followed you around all day? Just picture it hovering on the ceiling while you eat breakfast. Okay, right here, they're using a lot of words too, in the sense of like using that connotation. People don't like the word hovering. People don't like it when people hover over them. Okay, following you around at school, eavesdropping, same thing. People don't like when you eavesdrop on conversations. It records everywhere you go and everything you do, and then it zips away and sells all that information about you for $1 gazillion. Okay, so this even right here, saying it with this connotation, it has that effect of the sense of tying back to their claim. Okay. That would be pretty creepy, right? Well, that is basically what tracking technology is, except instead of a drone you can see, it's invisible programs online. The result is the same, though, a huge invasion of privacy. Okay, that's why I believe tracking and targeted advertisements should not be allowed. Okay, this right here, that's her claim. And that's like really similar to what, oh, sorry, you can't see that. That's really similar to what we wrote down below. Tracking and targeting advertising should stop. Should not be allowed. So it's the same type of deal. Okay. All right, big bucks. Supporters of tracking technology point out that the data companies collect and sell to advertisers is anonymous. In other words, companies aren't selling your name and exact address. Instead, they are selling general information like your age range, and interests. Okay, so this kind of has like your counterclaim a little bit, kind of talks about that, but then she talks about this in hers. So in my opinion, the issue is not about how anonymous the data is. The issue is that these companies are using our data for their gain, and it can be a very big gain. In 2020, Google made nearly $40 billion in digital advertising revenue in the US, and Facebook made about $31 billion. Okay, so this is that fact-based things that are backing up their claim or supporting your claim. Okay, according to eMarketer. Why are we letting companies profit off us? It's not like we're getting anything out of it, except ads that manipulate us into buying stuff. Okay? All right, so this right here is tying into her claim, her bias claim. And then she has this example. I forked over 3 months of hard-earned babysitting money for headphones because ads kept showing up on my social media, practically screaming, buy me. It was relentless. Now I understand that I was pressured into buying something I didn't even need. Okay? So she's saying that these ads are not okay. They're invading my privacy and they're making me buy stuff. All right, hard to understand. Now, there are some protections in place when it comes to data. For example, websites and apps must have privacy policies that explain what information they gather and how that information is used. The idea is that people will know what they're getting into before they use a site or app. Okay? But these policies tend to be long and full of jargon that most people don't understand. So this right here is what they're saying, ties back into their claim, so people don't understand it. The truth is that most of us don't exactly know what's happening with our data. According to a survey by the Pew Research Center, 63% of Americans say they have little to no understanding about the companies, what companies do with their data to collect. Okay, so having this piece of information also supports their claim. That simply isn't right. Time to stop. Thankfully, some promising changes have been made. In 2020, California passed a law that says consumers can opt out of having their data shared with advertisers. Okay? So the fact that these things are already happening supports their bias. And in April 2021, Apple released an update that allows iPhone users to stop apps from tracking them for ad targeting purposes. So again, that's tying into their claim. And guess what? 3 weeks after Apple launched this new feature, only 6% of users in the US chose to let apps track them. It's a really good fact right there. It kind of goes back to what they're saying. Okay, so clearly most people don't want to be tracked. So why is this still happening? All right, so again, this is all a bias. Okay, so this is their claim, and this is how they're trying to support their claim throughout the piece. So that's how you're tracing that argument. Okay, that's all we did with that one. Okay, so it's even if you don't agree with it, that's not what this is for. We're not agreeing with what they're saying, or maybe we are, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is to figure out what their claim is and see how they, the author, were able to trace that argument throughout their piece. All right, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side to see the other side of this argument, which is right here. So it says tracking technology improves our lives. Okay, so this is the whole thing about tracking and targeting advertising. What did they think about tracking and targeted advertising? What they're saying is that it's okay. Like, it's a good thing. Okay, so down here we could say claim. Zoom in this for you. So claim. They're saying that tracking and targeted advertising is okay. That's what they're saying. Okay, why is my pen not working? Sorry. All right. Tracking and targeted advertising is okay. That's what they're claiming. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to read it. We're going to highlight things or underline things that go along with that particular claim that tie back to that. All right, here we go. So then it says, sorry about that. All right, so then it says, tracking technology. Okay, so tracking technology is brilliant and it shouldn't go away. So this right here, they're even already saying, like, this is the claim. They're saying it's brilliant, it shouldn't go away. That's what we basically just said that before it. It improves our lives, helps small businesses, and makes it possible for social media to stay free. Okay, so they're speaking to their audience in the fact of they know that there's a lot of people that do social media. So that's also kind of tying in that ethos, pathos, logos, and going back to their claim as well. Okay, the benefits. Let's say you buy a book on Amazon. Thanks to tracking, the next time you visit Amazon, you'll be greeted with a list of suggestions for other books you might like. It's a great service. Okay, so again, they're tying into the fact that they know that I'm probably an Amazon person because most people are on Amazon right now. So it ties into like why they're trying to reach to me as the reader, okay, to kind of see their side. Of course, many people don't have a problem with that. What they have a problem with is targeted advertising, but targeted advertising is helpful. Okay, so they're saying it right here. It's helpful. It means you get ads that are relevant to you. I personally have found some of my favorite products through ads on Instagram. Targeted advertising helps us in a bigger way as well by keeping content and services free. Okay, so that's a piece of evidence to support that. How? Companies use the money they make selling ads to maintain their apps and websites. Without ad targeting, we could end up having to pay for things like Gmail and TikTok. So again, including things like this because they know their reader, most people have something to do either with Gmail and or TikTok. What's more, targeted advertising helps small businesses that can't afford and may not even need more expensive advertising such as TV commercials. Okay, so the fact that it's helping small businesses, there's a lot of people who know different small businesses or people who actually like family members or friends who own a small business. These businesses benefit from sending ads just to people most likely to become their customers. For example, a company that sells a cat collar doesn't need to spend money advertising people who don't have cats. Okay, so this kind of plays into the fact that it is a good thing because it's targeting, it targets that advertising. Ads are just ads. Some people or some say that targeted advertising is manipulative, that companies are using our data to trick us into buying their products. But ads are just ads. They were around long before the internet came along. It's not as though anyone is forcing you to buy this stuff. Okay? Um, so I think having this in here is really important. It's not forcing you to buy stuff. It's just there. Part of this right here is like a counterclaim as well, because they're kind of talking about what the other side is saying, but then giving their own input on it. Okay. The reality is that we spend much of our lives online. To enjoy the benefits, curated lists of basketball videos on YouTube, for example, we must deal with some of the drawbacks. This is interesting. Must deal with some of the drawbacks, like letting YouTube access some of our data. To me, the benefits far outweigh the drawbacks. Okay. So he's kind of in the middle, sort of, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he's not in the middle, but he understands the other side, and he's showing how he understands the other side. Okay? No big deal. It may seem scary to let companies track us, but the data they collect and sell usually isn't that personal. Advertisers don't know our names and exact addresses. Instead, people are grouped into categories. Okay, so having that, because again, this is kind of a counterclaim here. Okay? Still, I agree that if you don't want to be tracked, then you shouldn't be. That's why I support giving users the ability, to opt out. So he sees the other side of it and says, hey, if you want to opt out, you should be able to opt out. That doesn't mean that tracking and targeting advertising should go away altogether. Both have a place in our world and an important one at that. So when I look at this too, like he's still saying that tracking and targeted advertising is okay. But he's also saying that if you don't think it's okay, you should be able to opt out of it. It's interesting. Okay. All right. So again, if you were able to print, yours should look like mine. If you are not able to print, you should have all this stuff written down on a sheet of paper. The things that we highlighted or underlined, you can have those just written to the side because that's how that supports that argument for what their claim is. Okay? All right. Outside of that, this will end up going on page 35. So if you printed it, if you want to just write the number 35 somewhere so that way you know that it's going to go onto page 35, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, you need to take a picture of whatever it is that you did. If you did it on the actual printout, awesome. If you didn't and you did it on a separate sheet, I need you to take a picture of that and you're going to send it to me. That way I know that you did it and you'll get credit for it. But when you get back to school, you need to make sure to tape that onto page 35. And it will go with that other one that we did. Okay? All right, that's all I have.